Hello, everybody. I believe that we are live. Can you hear me? Testing, testing, check, check. 1, 2, 3. If you can hear me, see me, please feel free to throw a thumbs up or say hello in the chat on LinkedIn. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Visto Show. It is Friday, February the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. I should have made it like a red background, for Valentine's Day, but as you know, you don't come to this show for the design and tech. Well, we're going to talk about tech today, so it should be fun. We actually do have a lot to discuss today, so I'm not going to belabor the point too much. Akin gives me the thumbs up. Thanks, Akin. Appreciate it. Thomas says, yes, sir. Hey, Thomas, thanks for checking in. John says, yep, can hear. Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for confirming. Please feel free to join the chat. This is part of the reason why I do this live, is because if you want, you can join in on the conversation. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn live, thank you very much for joining. If you're watching after the fact, make sure to join in live next time, every second Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern, because you can take part in the conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, still, thank you very much for watching on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to find me over on LinkedIn so that you can join live. Now, on the left side, you'll see the agenda. It may look a little bit bare right now, but trust me, a few of these points are loaded. We got a lot to discuss: express entry draws and what we're seeing so far in 2025. There was a myriad of IRCC announcements over the last couple weeks from their website that we're going to review quickly. A new free trial that's been exciting with Visto. And we're going to talk a little bit about AI. I've been digging more into agents. I've been using this new tool that helps me with the research and writing, so I'm going to show that to you as well. Anyways, let's jump right in. If you do have any comments, questions, and you are tuning in live, again, feel free to join in the chat. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about our best friend, the gift that keeps on giving in terms of content, express entry. And I'm going to throw this link in the comments. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, you'll find the links as I go through in the comments. Let me make my camera a little bit bigger here. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're gonna see links in the description below as well, in the exact order that I put them into the comments. Oh, am I helpful? Anyways, let's jump in. So as you can see here, since the last Visto show, I think the last Visto show was after this, we've had 2 express entry draws. One on February the 5th, one on February the 4th. What we're starting to see, and if we look at all of 2025, we are getting a pattern, right? We sort of had a bit of this pattern to begin with, because if you look for like the last quarter of 2024, it was pretty much CEC, PNP, and then a mix of the industry-specific draws. What we've seen so far, interestingly, in 2025 is only CEC and PNP draws, right? So there's only been 5 draws so far this year. 3 of them have been CEC, and they have been the biggest draws, right? 4,000, 4,000, 1,350. The 2 other draws were PNP draws, inviting about 400 people to apply. So it seems that, and I don't think this is a huge surprise. Feel free to let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. I don't think this is a big surprise because of, number one, the reduced quotas, and number 2, IRCC making it clear that they want to prioritize those that are already inside Canada. Right, so for those who don't know, Canadian Experience Class is only for those who have at least 1 year of work experience in Canada, which makes sense. PNPs every PNP doesn't necessarily require that you have any deep connection into Canada, but most of them do, right? Whether it be a Canadian degree, a Canadian job offer, a Canadian work experience, etc., etc. So I think it's safe to say, number one, at least for me, this doesn't seem hugely surprising. I would say definitely expect the CEC and PNP draws to continue. Keep an eye on these scores, right? Even the CEC draws that we're seeing that are bigger, still score requirements of over 500, right? I've said this before and I'll say it again. Express entry is not what it was, pre-COVID or even mid-COVID, right? It's a totally different ballgame right now, and you need to adjust your expectations accordingly. All right, so I'm not going to say too much more about express entry unless anyone has questions. That's what we're seeing so far. Now I'm just going to take my patented segue sip here. Oh, excuse me. Now, there's been a ton of IRCC headlines. I was perusing their website a few days ago, and there's been a lot of recent announcements. None of them necessarily huge, but I think all of them kind of worth mentioning quickly. So I'm going to do a review of about 4 more IRCC headlines here. I'm not going to deep dive each of them because otherwise we'd be here all day, but I'll do a quick intro, I'll send you the links, and you can decide which ones you want to dive into on your own. So the first one here, 2025 provincial and territorial allocations under the International Student Cap. So as some of you may know, now IRCC is only giving a certain amount of provincial or territorial attestation letters so that only certain, every province and every school only has a certain amount of approvals that they can give out, right? First, let me put this link in the comments for those that want to follow along. So on January 24th, they announced the allocations. If you are interested, you can review here for the full breakdown, right? So you can see their target number is 437,000. This is for graduate degree students, about 73,000. Kindergarten to grade 12, PAL exempted, 72,000. Study permits issued to other PAL and TAL exempt applicants, 48,000. Study permits issued to remaining PAL required cohorts, 242,000. Then what you can do is you can see the breakdown by province, right? So obviously, for example, BC, Ontario, etc. are going to see the most. Wow, Ontario gets a lot. Ontario gets a lot more than BC. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. I thought it'd be a little bit closer. Quebec gets a lot, right? So anyways, I'm not going to go through all these numbers, but you can check them out here and dive into more details if you'd like. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But these numbers are out for your perusal and curiosity. Item number 2 here on this list, new rules to strengthen temporary resident document cancellations and border security integrity. This one is kind of interesting. Let me again put the link in the chat here. So this was announced February 12th, 2 days ago. These changes give Immigration and Border Services Office explicit authority to cancel ETAs and TRVs on a case-by-case basis. So what this means is you could be trying to enter Canada on an ETA or a TRV and just have it canceled, right? Now, obviously, they're not going to do this for fun and games, right? So they give a few examples here. But this is a big change that people and immigration professionals need to be aware of, right? A change in a person's status makes them inadmissible or no longer eligible to hold a document. An officer is not satisfied that someone will leave. The document is lost, stolen, or destroyed. The changes also enable officers to cancel TRVs, ETAs, work permits, and study permits issued to people when they become a permanent resident, they are deceased, or the document was issued based on an administrative error. So imagine going to the border and for some reason an officer is not satisfied that you'll leave Canada and they just cancel your TRV, right? They now have authority to cancel ETAs and TRVs. Right? Now, I would say in most cases, this is probably not a huge deal, but people who are coming to Canada on these temporary residence or ETA paperwork, you might want to be a little bit extra careful when preparing to go to the border, right? And I've seen posts from immigration lawyers and immigration consultants saying, hey, you know what? We're actually going to bolster what our clients are bringing to the border because we don't want to risk an officer at their own discretion, for example, deciding that someone's not going to leave Canada, boom, give me your TRV, see you later, bing, bang, boom, right? Or, hey, we issued that work permit on an administrative error, whatever that means. See you later, right? So anyways, again, I don't want to freak anyone out too much, but this is obviously a big change on the administrative side and what border officers can do that people need to be aware of. What do you think? Is this going too far? Is this too big of a change? I don't know. I think as long as officers aren't overreaching and making these broad decisions kind of on their own, like this could be life-changing decisions here, right? To decide to cancel someone's TRV and turn them around kind of thing. So anyways, I guess we'll have to see how it plays out, but it seems like a pretty big change. Next up, regulatory amendments for the Canada-US Info Sharing Agreement. This was January 31st. This is an interesting one. Let me post the link again in the chat if you're following along. On January 17th, changes came in to the agreement for sharing visa and immigration information, right? So be aware. These governments share visa and immigration information. These changes enable the automated exchange of biographical and biometric information on permanent residents of both Canada and the United States. So those biometrics, the fingerprints, the eye scan, etc., if you're a PR, are being shared automatically between Canada and the US. Once the required systems are in place, information will only be exchanged in response to a request as part of either country's screening process. The original agreement, which automated the exchange on all foreign nationals, was signed in 2012. The recent changes allow them to expand. Okay, so it sounds like they're expanding. They used to be able to do this for temporary residents. They're expanding it to permanent residents. It helps border officers verify clients' identities quicker, strengthen admissibility, screening, blah-bitty-blue, blue-bitty-blee. So, interesting. This is being expanded to now cover PRs. Keep things like this in mind, right? People going across the border, people with a visa from one country going to another. Just, important information to keep in mind. Important information for Canadian immigration lawyers and consultants who may be advising or assisting PRs that are coming from the US to Canada, etc. Okay, item number 4. We're going to keep chugging. Of course, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments on any of these, do feel free to join in the chat as well. Change to health insurance requirement makes the super visa more accessible. This was from January 28th. As I was saying, they had a pretty busy week or two. Families are stronger when they are together and Canada remains committed, blah, blah, blah. The super visa is a multiple entry visa that allows parents and grandparents of Canadian citizens and PRs to visit their family for longer periods of time, up to 5 years per visit. Super visa applicants must prove they have a minimum level of private health coverage to be granting a super visa because they're not eligible for provincial health care. Previously, proof of health insurance could only be from Canadian health insurance providers. As of today, so this was January 28th, IRCC is allowing super visa applicants to purchase private health insurance policies from companies outside Canada. Is allowing super visa to purchase a private health from company to be eligible as valid. The policy from a company outside Canada must be issued by a foreign insurance company authorized by the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, OSFI, OSFI. Appear on OSFI's list of federally regulated financial institutions, be issued under the company's insurance business in Canada. So basically making it easier, or I guess the right word here is flexible. A little bit more flexible in where and how you can get health insurance for the super visa. You can find out if insurance company is authorized by visiting the OFSI website. So just making it a little bit easier to get health insurance to apply for super visas for those of you thinking about them or doing a lot of work with them. Important information to keep in mind. All right, so that was a bit of a rapid fire, shall we say, rapid fire IRCC news. Links to all of those are in the description, so if you want to dig into each one specifically, do feel free as well. Hassan says hello. Hey Hassan, how you doing? Thanks very much for tuning in. Couple more things to discuss. Number 1, the new Visto free trial. So as many of you know, well, this is called the Visto Show, right? Visto is the Canadian immigration platform that we've built for Canadian immigration law firms. So if you're a consultant, a lawyer, you're doing a lot of immigration files, we've built a platform that makes it easy to handle clients, gather information, prepare documents, forms, use our AI for research, writing, all that kind of stuff. We now have a 30-day free trial. So if you are an immigration practitioner, consultant, lawyer, you're working for a consultant or a lawyer, you're not happy with all the manual work you're doing, copy and pasting onto forms, merging and compressing PDFs, all that fun stuff, give it a try. You can go on our website, click to sign up for free. You get a free trial for 30 days. You can try up to 10 applications, and you'll see why lots of firms across Canada are using Visto to automate and streamline a lot of their internal processes. So that is there if and when you need it, or if you've been on the fence, now's your time to give it a try. I don't know how long it'll be up for, so get it while it's hot. All right. Now, the last thing I wanted to cover today is some AI excitement. And I'm going to talk about two things. Number one is a new tool that I've been using a little bit more on the AI side. And number two, AI agents. I kind of discussed this briefly on the last show, so I won't go too deep in that regard, but a quick discussion as well as some content that I've put out this week. Sorry, needed that patented segue sip. So let me share my screen here. So the first one, this is on my Substack, right? I'm going to put a link to this in the comments as well. If you're interested in AI, the law, legal tech, law firms, automation, stuff like that, definitely make sure you're on my Substack. I usually post about 2 to 3 times a week, sharing a lot of content like this. What I talked about, one of the things I talked about this week, is the newest tool that I'm using, which is Google's Notebook LM. I don't know if you've tried it or seen it before. It is super powerful, especially for things like research and writing. So for example, let me just pull it up. What it's really good at, you're going to see, I don't want to log in through that account. How do I log in to a different account? Sorry, I should have had this pulled up to begin with. Hold on one sec. Am I ever unprepared, eh, folks? Let's go the old-fashioned way. Here we go. So what it's really good at is helping you basically work with large or small amounts of information. If you have used it before, please by all means let me know in the chat. But basically what it allows you to do, here I'll make a new one. And I'm a G Suite user and it's free, right? So I can click new and let's just say like, IRCC news bot, right? I can call it whatever I want. And now what you can do is you can add sources and start asking questions or prompts, right? So I click add source and you can see here I can upload files. They accept PDF, .txt, markdown, audio. I can pull in documents from my Google Drive. I can link to websites or YouTube videos, or I can even just copy and paste text, right? So for example, let's say for whatever reason, I want to write an article about like all these, right? As an example, I'm going to upload a website and I'm going to take this link and I'm going to post it here and I'm going to click insert and that's it, right? You see, it took me about 2 seconds, right? And now I can start asking you questions. What's the 2020-2025 study permit cap, right? And based on the information from that source, it uses AI to answer the question, right? The total number of permits issued is 437,000, right? Which is what I just showed you. Now the cool part is I can add up to 20 sources, or 50 sources. So I can add all these links, all this other stuff, right? And then not only can you start asking questions, so it's really good for research and stuff. Look at what you can do on the right. You can create a study guide. You can create an FAQ. You can generate audio. So you can generate like a podcast episode on the content, create a timeline, etc., etc. Right? So as you can imagine, there's a ton of use cases for this, right? I could say like, draft me a 2-paragraph LinkedIn post summarizing this article, right? So basically the world is your oyster, right? You can upload crazy amounts of, here, and it just spits it out, right? You can upload a small or large amount of documents. You can upload videos and ask for a transcript, right? You can upload websites and ask it for, whatever. I don't know. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. You can copy, paste, right, et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty wild. So I'll give you an example. Here's how I'm using it right now. That's been super helpful. So as many of you know, I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm also delving into the world of family law. So if you happen to need a family lawyer, divorces, separations, all those really fun, positive things, feel free to reach out. But anyways, I'm touching up on family law. Family law, there's a lot of information I got to catch up on. There's all these acts, there's all these rules. So look at what I did. I created a family law bot and I uploaded all of these sources. Child Support Guidelines, Canada Evidence Act, Child and Family Services Act, Divorce Act, Courts of Justice Act, blah, 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 right? It takes 3 seconds, right, to upload these. And now I can start, this is like thousands, maybe tens or hundreds of thousands of words of text here, right? And now I can start asking it questions, right? My client wants to respond to a divorce proceeding, but we need more than 2 months to prepare. What can we do? Right? I don't know. I'm just throwing out random crap here, right? But you can see here that I can upload tons and tons, dozens of sources with thousands, tens of thousands of pieces of information, text, and now I can query it within seconds, right? The following options are available. Now look at this. Not only does it provide answers, but for almost every line of the answer, it also shows me the source. So you can see the number here, 1. I can scroll over it, and it starts showing me the text that it's pulling the answer from and the source, right? So I can now go right to the source and double check, right? So anyways, super powerful, right? There's a wide range of things you could use this for, right? You could upload a bunch of videos and ask to convert it to blog posts. You could upload blog posts and ask it to convert it to YouTube scripts. You can upload a 1-hour YouTube video and start querying it and asking questions about it, right? You can copy and paste thousands and thousands and thousands upon lines of text and start organizing them and creating FAQs based on them, or study guides, create your own study guide for stuff that you're studying for, right? So anyways, it's pretty friggin' cool. I'm biased, but it's very cool, very powerful. I'm a G Suite user and it's totally free, and you can set it up in seconds. So anyways, I highly recommend giving it a try, especially if you're like me and need to do a lot of research. I went into more detail on my Substack post as well, right? So I just linked to it. I talk a little bit about what it is, how I'm using it, etc., etc. All right. So hopefully you find that helpful. What do you think? Do you find it helpful? I'm slowly starting to talk about more and more AI tools, what you can use, how you can use them. Let me know what you think. Are you liking this? Do you want me to just stick to immigration? You're like, Josh, just tell me the immigration news. I don't care about this other crap, right? Or are you liking some of these AI deeper dives, tools I'm using, guides, stuff like that? Let me know in the comments, or feel free to shoot me a DM as well. Now, the other thing I wrote about on Substack, again, I'll link to this in case you want to give it a look, or in case for some reason you're not already subscribed. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you wouldn't be subscribed though. Anyways, is AI agents, right? So what came out a couple of weeks ago is the OpenAI operator. OpenAI operator. I think it's only usable in the US, but basically what this is now, you have AI agents that can do multi-step processes, right? So typically when you're using AI so far, like Notebook or ChatGPT or whatever, you type in one thing and you get back another thing. Where Operator and AI agents are going, and again, I talk about this a little bit more in my Substack post as well, is multi-step AI, right? So basically you can ask it to do multiple things, right? Hey, so here, find and book me the highest rated one-day tour of Rome on TripAdvisor. What this means is the AI can now go search on the internet, compare different options, find the best ones, book one that you want, right? Or you could say, hey, research this, put together that, book me this, right? Like multiple step type stuff. Send it to me in an email summary, blah, 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 right? So this stuff's going to get really cool. I'm a little hesitant with some of what I've noticed kind of so far on the AI side, and maybe you can kind of agree or not, is the AI is evolving really quickly, but some of the tools when they first launch are just kind of okay. So what I like to do is play around with a lot of them, test them out to kind of gauge what the quality is like, and then also maybe not be the first user, but to keep an eye on the tools and especially monitoring them as they get better, right? So for example, another tool, here's the best example I can give for this. is a tool called, now I use this tool called Opus Pro. And what Opus Pro does is it allows me to take a link of a YouTube video and click it and copy and paste it, and the platform will automatically generate these YouTube shorts and TikTok shorts, right? That you can edit, upload, schedule for posting, stuff like that, and it makes it super easy. I first used Opus Pro about a year and a half ago, and to be honest, it kind of sucked. It wasn't great at finding the best clips. The clip editor wasn't very powerful. I didn't love it, so I stopped using it. But then I went back to it about a month or two ago and saw, holy crap, now it is really good, right? It is very good at picking the best clips. The editor is super powerful. The scheduling is easy, right? So what I'm trying to say here is I talk to a lot of people, especially law firms, about AI, and I understand there's hesitations and I understand there's concerns. But what you need to keep in mind is two things. Number one, the tools are going to continue to get a lot better. And number two, you want to start getting at least a little bit comfortable with them. You don't have to use AI all day, every day to do everything. But you want to start being at least a little bit comfortable, at least improving your prompt engineering skills. Because as they continue to get better and better and really good, the people who adopt them once they get really good are going to be able to do 3 times as much as you in half the time, right? So again, I'm not saying jump in and start using AI for everything. AI is a tool. It's not a replacement, right? Use it as a tool, not as a replacement, but just start getting more and more familiar with some of the popular and good tools. They're going to keep getting better. I will keep highlighting the ones that I really like, right? So the other thing you can do is if you don't have the time or don't feel like testing stuff, just follow the right people like myself and others who are doing the testing for you, right? I can tell you how powerful Notebook LM is. I can tell you how powerful Opus Pro is without you having to go try them and realize, crap, this tool sucks, right? Because there's so many tools out there right now. So anyways, that is it in terms of what I wanted to cover today. Hopefully you found that helpful. We are right at the 30-minute mark. I will take a 30-second pause to see if there's any live questions in the LinkedIn chat. Otherwise, I will let you get back to your day. If you are following or watching on LinkedIn, thank you very much. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions, anything like that. Liking and commenting really helps. If you're watching on YouTube after the fact, if you could like, subscribe, leave a comment on what you think, or just do one of those. Again, it just kind of helps push the video around and get us a little bit more engagement and views and stuff like that. So anyways, I will take one last sip. And I will say, thank you again to everybody for tuning in. Let me know what you think. I know you folks like the immigration updates because I've been doing this show for years. Do you also like some of the AI deep dives? If so, I'll keep doing it. If not, I'll stop. But hopefully you find them helpful. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. We have a quick question here from Akin. Hi, I would like to know more about how IRCC uses AI to vet and verify supporting documents and making decisions on submitted applications. Akin, that's a great loaded question. I would say what I would recommend to you is take a look at IRCC's Schachnow, right? So there's some content about it online. There's blog posts, stuff like that. I am not an expert on Schachnow, but if I were you, I would take a look at Schachnow. That is where they're implementing and using more and more AI. This actually might be a decent link to start looking into, because it can be. That's what you're going to look for right now, Akin, is Schachnow, how it's being used. It's continuing to being used. There's some interesting case law coming out and challenges and, debate around the AI. So it'll be a topic I definitely kind of keep my finger on the pulse about, but I'm not an expert per se on it right now. Amir says, thank you, Josh. Thanks, Amir, for tuning in. Hopefully you found it helpful. Eggy says, thanks. It was informative as always. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Ludicus says, sorry, I was a bit late in joining. Would I be able to view this lesson on LinkedIn? Yes, Ludicus. So once I end it, the video does remain on LinkedIn. So you can watch a full recap or, the video stays, right? So you can watch it from the beginning at any time. If you follow us on LinkedIn, if you're subscribed to us on YouTube, which you should be, you'll be able to watch the whole video there in about an hour. It takes about an hour for me to upload it there as well. So anyways, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday. If you're watching this on Friday, have a great Valentine's Day. If you're in Canada, have a great Family Day on Monday, long weekend. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.